I'm Ms. Hirutio.
I'm Mr. Trent.
And our teacher is Miss Kintrell. Okay, so you all might notice that you have some objects on your desk. So can someone tell me, what is it? Like, what's sitting on your desk? Just shout it out. What is it?
Bottle.
Okay, a bottle. What's inside? Beads. So there's some objects inside your bottle. So what we're going to do with these is we're going to kind of just make some observations about these bottles with these objects inside of them. So what I want you to do is you're going to kind of take turns at your table making observations with your bottle. So observations is kind of a big word. So what kind of observations can you make? What does observing look like? What's something you can do to observe something? You can look at it. That's a good observation. What else? You can smell it.
Touch it.
Touch it.
What it sounds like.
Yeah, you can figure out what it sounds like. So I'm going to go ahead and give you all a couple of minutes to kind of just look at the bottles, pass it around your table, and make as many observations as you can. So go ahead and do that.
Write them down yet?
No. Just making observations.
Okay.
No writing yet.
I noticed that when I don't take it, nothing. It doesn't, there's no
Your
sound.
shape.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
Oh, okay.
Might be something we're looking into today. Some more observations.
Flavor, does it sound different?
They also,
Oh, that's so good. I'm so glad.
they do.
It tastes funny.
Alright, so we're gonna kind of come back together here, and I want some of you to raise your hand and maybe share with the class maybe an observation you made about this bottle. Yes, Emily.
Okay, so I noticed that that whenever I shake it like this, it's not very loud, but then when I shake it like this, it makes it like a lot louder. And so like the harder you shake a bottle, the louder and the bigger it changes the pitch of the sound.
Yeah, that's
Like how
interesting.
it sounds like.
Why do you think that happens? Do you have any idea? It's okay if you don't.
I don't know.
Yeah, so kind of keep that question in mind, and you might find out some more things as we go through the lab as to why that might be. Okay. All right, any more observations? Yeah.
We noticed that these two bottles with like the jewels in them, when you shake them, sound like this bottle with the beads.
Do you have any thoughts about that? Maybe why that might be?
Maybe because of the shape of the beads or the container.
Okay, so the shape of the bead has something to do with it. Any more observations? Yeah.
Ours sounded the same, but there was a lot less of this one than there was this one. But they were still just as loud.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. Do you have any thoughts as to maybe why that happened?
Maybe we shook it harder?
Maybe, yeah. So we're going to be kind of looking into these, exploring our observations as we go through our lab today.
Okay, so we've made some really good observations so far. We know that, let's see, the harder I shake it, the louder it is. That makes sense. And there's some different objects in your bottles. Even at your table, you might have two different bottles. I know one group said that they have two of the same bottles, but they made different noises. So we're definitely making sound. Can we agree on that? That we're all making sound here, and it's kind of fun, okay? So our our investigation question today is going to be, what makes sound? What makes sound? Okay, and let's talk about maybe just, let's see, we had, a lot of us have beads in there. Let's talk about some vocabulary here. We said loudness. I think somebody said if I shake it louder, or if I shake it harder, it makes it louder. Okay. Let's see. And let's look at our papers here. And it says prediction drawing down at the bottom. Can we maybe draw some pictures of what we thought actually made the sound? Okay, so let's take a minute and let's think about, we want to know what is making this sound.
So we all heard sound, so just think about what did you see or what did you observe that made that sound happen. That's
Okay.
what we're-
Does that make sense to everybody, hopefully? We have the bottles. Okay, there's space in those bottles. There's empty spaces and there's some beads in there. Okay, so what combination of all those made that sound? If you want to talk with your groups, that would be okay. Share some ideas.
I think the sound is me.
Well, we're gonna have a time.
Well, I was just gonna try and I said that sound draw like
Ooh, I like that word. Definitely. Okay, so we make an impact here.
Starts making the sound and then as
That's a good word.
I think that sound is made by whatever is inside the bottle hitting the side.
I said that whenever the beads or the jewels hit the side of the bottle, that's when the sound is made.
I think if they just move, they make sound.
So you think movement makes sound. Did you hear something that made you think that?
Well, sometimes I feel like that even if they're like in the bottle and they don't hit anything, they make sound.
They're in the bottle. They don't hit anything.
Yeah.
So if they're just
It's like a softball. It doesn't hit anything, it just really good for body.
interesting.
They don't hit you, it doesn't hit you.
You need to respond to that.
So what is it that actually makes the sound if it's not hitting anything?
I don't know.
All right, well that's an interesting concept that we can kind of look into as we go throughout the lab today.
Why do you think that?
No, because there's only so many beads in there, there's empty spaces in there. It's just empty. So where else could
So,
it go? Besides the beads and the sound.
You've asked me questions.
is there anything?
Okay, we're almost ready to come back. Get your final thoughts in with your group, and then we'll come back and talk about it, okay? Okay, are we all right? Let's talk about this as a group. We have lots of good.
Can I call time out?
Yes, ma'am.
So for the sound group, you guys really got to work on your attention getters, which I should have reminded you in the beginning,
Okay.
because it's going to be really loud. And I was just thinking, before you have them shake, you should introduce some sort of attention getter, and we'll look to see the time that she uses. But let's just practice.
Okay.
So what kind of attention getter do you guys want to use for your lesson?
For our sound,
Yeah.
maybe clapping.
Sure. So can you just tell us you're going to do that, or do it, and then we'll respond.
Okay, so I let them know when I clap 3 times, you clap once, and then we'll come back. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, class. When we're done with this, we'll pretend that we're already done here. I'm going to clap 3 times, and you'll clap once, and then we'll come back and talk about our observations. Okay? All right. Ready? Okay. How are we feeling? Pretty good. I think we've got a lot of ideas written down here. So can Kayla's table maybe share one idea that you had about why is this making sound?
We think, or I think that the beads hit the bottle and it makes a loud sound. The harder you hit the beads to the bottle, the louder the sound is going to be.
That's a really good observation. Okay, we kind of already had that up here. The harder I shake it, the harder those beads hit the bottle, the louder it gets. Okay, I like that, Kayla. At this table over here, Grace's table, everybody.
I think that the weight of the objects.
Ooh, so she says the weight of the objects. Can I write that up here? Let's see. The weight of the objects. good one. Okay, great, thanks. So the weight of the objects make a different sound. Okay.
I want you guys to practice probing. You're not doing a ton of probing.
Okay.
Like, Lauren could have probed Emily's her answer earlier. So you want to just practice probing Grace's thinking.
Okay.
What would you do? How would you probe it?
Can you tell me more about that? Maybe why the beads would be bigger hitting the side of the bottle, or does anyone agree with that? Does the rest of your table agree with that? Maybe. Okay. Sorry.
Ask them. Just keep them talking.
Yeah.
Like, why do you get why? Let's see. Or anybody else?
Well, I just think that the beads make sounds.
Just the beads make sound. Okay, so she thinks that only the beads alone make sound. Okay. Is there anything else that we might need to make this sound? We have the beads.
You have
Kylie?
to move it.
We have to move it. Okay, so we have the beads, and they have to move.
The beads have to hit something.
Ooh, so Emily tells us the beads have to hit something. Do we agree with that?
The beads have to vibrate.
Ooh, Cindy used the word vibrate. The beads have to vibrate. Okay. Is that what's actually making the sound? Is something vibrating?
Oh, I think that the vibration and the speed of the movement of the beads.
Okay.
But my question is, does the funneling or the narrowing of the bottle at the top increase the sound too?
Let's see. Did anybody experience that? She said that does the funneling at the top of the bottle make a difference of how the bottle sounds? Okay, so maybe it might do that. Let's see. Do you guys have anything you might be able to add? Possibly. We'll look at it maybe a little bit later. And we have a lot of good observations here. And we're going to move to our claim. Okay. We'll use kind of the information that we have here and see if we can make a prediction about what's going to happen or why sound is made with our beads in our bottles.
Okay, so we're going to start on predictions. Can anybody tell me what a prediction is?
Guess.
Yeah.
A guess.
It's a guess. It's a guess based on what you already know. So prior knowledge. So we're going to make a prediction about what we think makes sound. So at the top of the page, you can see it says, I think sound is made by blank because of blank. And you can use your drawing in your prediction as your evidence of what you saw when you were shaking your bottles.
You will most likely need to elicit get someone to respond because they may have no idea what you're asking because this is first grade, right?
Yeah, first or second.
So why don't you try to elicit somebody's response? Oh, that's right. This is Cantrell. This isn't first.
It's first, second.
Who's got first? You guys have first.
Oh, yes, sir. First.
Oh, okay. You want to try to elicit maybe somebody's response to get everybody else thinking.
What did you have down?
I wrote that when the beads hit the bottle, or I said I think I can make sound because when I shake it, the beads hit the empty bottle, and then I think this because I saw that when the beads hit the side, it made the noise.
Or you wanted me to ask him like what a prediction was?
Well, more I'm thinking they're going to be struggling a little bit. They may not know. So either you guys could model it on the board. If you get one student to share their answer, and then it helps all of us start thinking. So we need something to help us thinking because they may just be looking blankly at this like, I have no idea what's right. That's what I'm thinking about.
Maybe we could put like on the smart board or
You
something.
could do it on the smart board. Then my concern is that other people may not have heard Morgan because she's on one side of the room and we may not have heard. So, I don't know, just a way to get us thinking, our ideas. So try that one more time.
What did you write down in your prediction? Do you want me to have it write down the board?
No, I don't think we have time for that, but just make sure everybody's listening or even just calling somebody to repeat what she said or just to engage the rest of us because the thing is you're right beside her and so the rest of us may not even be paying attention.
I think sound is made by beads hitting an empty bottle because I saw that when the beads hit the side, it made the noise.
Did everybody hear that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We totally are. Just don't ask questions like that. Actually call on somebody or say, "Who can repeat?"
Okay.
Try.
Can you repeat what she said?
No. Call on somebody else. That's fine. That'll happen.
Can you repeat what she said?
Call somebody who's not close to me.
Okay. Can you repeat what she said?
I don't really remember.
Can anybody repeat what she said?
She said that the reason that there's sound is because the beads are hitting the side of the bottle. And it makes sound.
Is there anyone that agrees with that prediction, that maybe had the same one? Okay, so a lot of us are thinking that. Did anyone have a different prediction, or did they disagree with that? Yeah.
I said, I think sound is made by the beads that are moving, because I saw the beads moving in the bottle.
So you think the sound is made by the beads moving in the bottle?
Yes.
Okay. So why do you think that?
Because I saw them moving, and whenever I move them, they make a sound.
Is there anyone that disagrees with Victoria? Yeah.
Well, just to add on to that, the beads are also hitting each other and not just the bottle.
Okay, so the beads are hitting each other within the bottle, so these are some really good observations and predictions that we're making. So, is there a timer?
Yeah, you're kind of
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Good job. Did you want to wrap? No. Good. Good. So I think one of the things, I just wanted to highlight was continuing to probe students' thinking, and also think about helping to get students' ideas flowing. So either getting one student to share an idea and try to get someone like on the other side of the room from you. That's helpful. Or if you call on Morgan, walk away from Morgan to the other side of the room, right? That's like, you'll notice that happens if you watch your teachers. Like if a teacher starts talking to someone, often they'll walk to the other side of the room because then the conversation just becomes between you and the person. Because really, class, why does Andy want to call on Morgan? What are some of the reasons why he wants her to? He wants to call on her. What do you guys think?
She was close to him.
Yeah, she was close to him, so it's convenient. What else?
To see if anyone has the same idea.
Yeah, so it's a way to assess. So he can assess, okay, Morgan's idea is either right on track or it is not. And so he needs to provide more support. What are other reasons he'd call on her?
Maybe like when she put her idea out there, it would like give other kids ideas that they could build on or disagree with.
Right, exactly. So help other kids thinking. You're probably not going to get a ton of disagreement in the early grade just because that's not something they're really used to. I'm glad that you guys are asking. Totally ask, but expect that they may not do it. They may not disagree as much just because disagreement requires a level of cognition and also just social kind of awareness. Good. What were some of the effective moves that you guys noticed in their lesson? What were some of the effective teacher moves?
When they were walking around, they stopped at the table and asked us what we were thinking and everything like that.
That was nice. That was really good.
They reminded the students about what it means to observe something.
That was awesome. That was good. And you could even use the word scientist. Like when you talked about predictions. As scientists, we do blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that was nice. What else?
I just liked how they wrote down the observations so that we go back to them.
Yeah, that's great. Other thing, Erin, what'd your table notice? What'd you guys notice? Anybody at that table? Some effective teaching moves.
That they had us at the beginning work like hands-on with the material and like kind of gave us a minute to observe it at the table.
Yeah, what'd you guys think about their hook? Think it was good? Did it get you thinking? Got your ideas going?
It's good for their age group.
Yeah. It's good for any age group. It's good for you guys as college students. You know? I mean, I agree. It is good for first grade, but honestly, it's good for any grade, yeah.
It's better than just like talking though, because
Yes.
then they'd be off thinking about something else. So.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I just did 2 notes about the hook. The first one is I would recommend putting like
a little bit of glue on the lid so that they can't get it
You
open.
should say
and
that.
get
Don't open
beads
it.
everywhere.
Right, first
Because
graders,
there
yeah.
will be at least one of them.
No,
who
that
does.
makes sense.
And then,
Tape it. Yeah, good idea.
and then the other thing is, I think it's risky putting it on the table immediately and then leaving it there for the whole lesson.
Yeah.
Oh, also,
We'll talk about management. Yeah.
There's 4 people at our table and there's only 3 bottles, so maybe have enough for everyone.
Well, we'll think about that. I think.
I think we
Yeah.
might have mentioned sharing with your group.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think
So
we
the
kind of
setup a little bit. You guys know what I think about your setup. Because you'll have to introduce the attention getter, kind of like expectations for shaking, things like that. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, classroom management. Yeah. Good.
Lauren, I like threw a curveball at her, and she did really well about like answering it, but not like giving it all away.
Good.
And so that was really good.
Awesome. Good job, you guys. All right, great. So let's transition to